This video is going to be on the Reflexion 5 light LED track fixture that you can buy at Costco. Let me see over here in the corner, it says 1600 lumens. It is an LED light. It appears to be very nice quality in the store. This is what it looks like on the box. You can see this here is the wall mount or the ceiling mount, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fixtures. Let's see what else is on the other side of the box. You can see over there the light is hanging inside of a kitchen. And dimmable LEDs, that's nice. They do sell a dimmable switch, which I bought. If this works out, I will be installing it and doing a video on that. And then over here we have the same unit in the bathroom. So you can see that we've got a mounting on the wall over there, and then we have it mounted on the ceiling. So I'm going to be doing an install of the wall and the ceiling if I like the fixture. If you like my videos, do a thumbs up, a subscribe, a like. Go to my channel page if this saves you some money and click on the support button. My videos are usually very wordy and extremely long and detailed so that you know what I'm going through installing them for the first time and you know what to expect when you do the install. So if you're expecting a 2-second video, this is not the place to watch. I do want to say that you are dealing with electricity when you are installing lighting. Make sure you turn the power off. If you don't, you could kill yourself, and I take zero responsibility if that should happen. So make sure that you protect yourself. Shut off the power. Here we have 2 screws. I'm hoping that there are more than 2 mounting screws for this. Maybe this looks like it's for the outlet box. And we have 3 wire nuts. Make sure that your nuts fit on the wire properly. You don't want to have small nuts. And we have 3 lighting fixtures over here, so I'm just going to do a little unboxing right now. Might be long. If you don't want to watch it, feel free to advance the video a little bit. Okay, I'm not doing this with a tripod, so this makes it a little more difficult. What do we have in here? We have lots and lots of cardboard. A lot of cardboard. It looks like the fixture is already put together, which it is a little heavy, not excessively heavy. You might need 2 people to do this. You might need a second person to hold this fixture up while it gets mounted to the ceiling of the wall. So this looks like everything. It's all put together. I don't have the greatest lighting over here, but this is really nice quality. Very, very nice chrome plated, if that's it. And the lighting or the plastic is completely sealed. And the LED is inside there. These are adjustable. You can turn them in different directions. So overall right now I'm fairly impressed. It comes with a massive instruction book. Just enormous. As that nut guy would say who's running, this is huge. Okay, so I'm going to go through the instructions now that are written in Spanish, French, and English. And what it says is machine screws are included, your wire nuts are included, and you will need a screwdriver, which is not included. It's pretty impressive that that is all you're going to need is a screwdriver. You might need some wire strippers to take care of the wires in your outlet box, and you might need some electrical tape if you want to tape up the do some taping on your wire nuts so that your nuts aren't exposed. And looks like we have that's where the machine screws are going to go. The machine screws are going to hold this bracket up to your outlet box. And then it looks like somehow the fixture attaches to this bracket. So let me get through these instructions and figure out what I need to do. The instructions look fairly nice, well detailed. And then I'll start putting this thing up. You can see that I still have the lamp in the box, everything's covered up and protected, but I turn the lamp upside down. Now this is the bracket that we are going to be mounting onto the ceiling of the wall, and it's held in only by 2 set screws on the side, so it's a fairly easy installation, except for the weight of this thing, which might be a little difficult to deal with when connecting the wires. I'm glad that they gave longer screws so that it will be able to support some of this weight and make it easier to screw the screws in. So you want to remove these 2 screws, put them in your box so you don't lose them. Here's the bracket, and the bracket is going to be mounted this way. It's going to be mounted just like the other one was. Your green screw is going to be visible so that you can attach your ground wire. And you're going to be mounting it this way on the ceiling, so that the brackets are pointing downward towards the floor. That's the important part. You don't want to mount it this way. You want to mount it this way. And if you're going to be mounting it on the wall, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be mounting it with the prongs facing you. Not away from you, but facing you. So I'm going to get up there right now, and it looks like the wires are going to be going through here. This is not going to be the easiest installation because you're going to have to push your wires through here, put them through, and then connect them to the wire nuts. And it doesn't look like it's really easy to push these big wire nuts through here. So that might be a little difficult for one person to do. You might need 2 people, or you might have to find a way to support this lamp from the fixture, from the bracket, while you connect all of this. Right over here you can see your ground wire is wrapped around the 2 wires that you will be installing. It looks like this is the, I don't know if that's a ballast, but that's the thing that powers the LEDs. And again, you can use an LED light dimmer on this. You do not use a standard light dimmer. You will damage the light and the fixture. Use a dimmer that is made for LED lamps, lighting, and you should be okay. Time to install this bracket and figure out how I'm going to position the wiring so that I can get the wire nuts and everything through here and push back up before I mount the light fixture. In the package that comes with this, with the wire nuts, you can see the 2 screws. Those 2 screws will be used to mount the bracket. Now you've got the screws up there already, so you might want to use those, or you might want to use the screws that come with this. It's up to you, really, how you want to handle this thing. The nice thing is, which I wasn't even thinking about, let me show you the light fixture again. There's a lot of room in here, so I'll be able to put my wire nuts, all my wiring will be able to go in here, unlike my older fixture where I had to shove it up into the ceiling. So it shouldn't be a problem to push the wires through these 2 openings over here, which you will see me do in a minute, and then push the ground wire through, and then I will take these 2 screws over here and mount this and then show you what it looks like. You can see on the bracket it has a whole bunch of different screw holes, so it should be able to fit, you should be able to connect this to just about anything. Outer screws, outer, inner, different sizes here. So this should be universal. The original screws were much shorter. The screws that came with the bracket, with the lamp, are much longer. They'll be able to support the weight better. So use the longest screws that you have. If your original screws are longer, use those. If the newer screws are longer, use those. And tighten everything. I don't have a ground wire here, but I do have a ground screw. This system is, this place was not wired for ground with the Romex for this lamp, so I'm still going to connect my ground wire, which you should do too. If you have a wire coming out of the fixture, you'll want to connect your ground wire to this, or hopefully your bracket, your outlet box is grounded. I don't know if this is, but hopefully the outlet box is grounded, and then you'll get your ground from here. So I'm going to tighten down these screws now. You can see I've got the 2 wires inside this loose area here, and normally you would either connect your braided ground wire through here or through here. So almost done, and then the the lamp will be mounted on these two brackets. That's why you're going to need something to hold this fixture while you connect the two wires together. I'm probably going to get some rope or something, some string, tie it through this bracket, hold it onto the lamp so that it stays up in the air. I'll connect my two wires. I will put the wire nuts on here, and I'll be able to mount them into that cavity behind the light fixture, and then I will push everything up to the top, put in the two set screws that I removed originally, and everything should be finished. You can see I have the two screws in here. It's secure. That's going to be my ground wire screw, and the two wires are coming through this slot. Just make sure you don't scrape this thing and fray the insulation. You shouldn't have a problem, but make sure you don't scrape that. You might want to put a wire nut on here or some tape while you're doing this, just to make sure you don't touch either of the wires in case you're careless. So it's time to get the lamp fixture up here with the wire nuts and connect the white wire in the light fixture to the white wire here, the black wire in the fixture to the black wire here, the ground wire in the fixture, the bare wire, will get wrapped around this screw, and then you will put the whole light fixture up, put your set screws in, and everything should turn on. Again, put wire nuts on here. If you want to put some electrical tape, that's always a wise thing, but it's up to you. I don't know if the fixture will be able to be supported strictly with the ground wire while it is attached until I connect these two wires. So I'm not going to be able to show that on the recording because I only have two hands and the tripod is not going to help out. Since I'm doing this by myself, you can see I have some strapping wrapped around the fixture and then hooked around the bracket up there. Not the greatest thing in the world. You've got to make sure that your wires are not going to fall apart when you disconnect this thing, that there's not going to be any strain on there. That's why I wish I had somebody else here helping me, but I don't. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. A little mousy, but this is going to work. I might have to make it a little bit tighter. You could use some rope, some heavy-duty rope, or some brackets that are going to hold this thing up, or just have somebody stand on the side holding the bracket while you connect your two wires. Since I'm dealing with this, there is no way that I'm going to be able to disconnect this and show you the wires and the wire nuts all connected, because this thing will fall apart and hurt me. So I will show you the video when everything's closed up, and you can see what the light looks like. You can see I've got my ground wire attached. The instructions say you need a flat blade screwdriver, but you also need, it says you need a Phillips. You need a flat blade because you have to tighten that ground screw. So you're either going to need a nut driver or a flat blade for the ground screw. Nut driver size is 1/4 inch. It's kind of wussy because, again, I don't really need this wire, but I'm going to be mounting this just for some stability. And you can see I've got this whole thing bracketed up kind of silly, but here we go. Again, this is not the safest way, but if you're by yourself and you got to find some way to do it, you can see that I've got it held on a bracket. I've got my ground wire attached, but there is enough slack so that I'm not supporting the whole fixture on the ground wire. You do not want to put the weight of this fixture on these three wires. You could cause some problems. So make sure that you've got some stability over there. After I get this whole thing mounted, then after I get everything wired up, I will be disconnecting this holder, holding the lamp fixture myself, getting it lined up, and then putting the two screws in, the two mounting screws on these flanges. So if you can get a second person to help you, it will make this job safer and easier. Do not do this by yourself. If you fall, I take no responsibility. Beep, beep. That's my power being shut off in the background. You can see I've got the black wires connected. I'm not really happy with the wire nuts. They really didn't tighten down on the wires that great. So after I'm finished with both of these, I'm going to be putting some electrical tape on just for precaution. You can see you just want to take your two wires. Most of the time they'll say just put them together and then twist the wire nut on there and let it do its thing. I'm wrapping it on around a little bit because it's going to make it easier for me to hold the wires and get the wire nut on there. And then that wire might be a little bit too long. That could be part of the problem. But make sure you put some tape over this thing if you can afterwards, just for protection. I didn't put a lot of tape on there, just enough so that it will hold the wire nut onto the wire. Should the wire want to slip out, it shouldn't be able to cause any problems. It's being held over here, it's being wrapped around over there, so the wire is going to stay in here. It's not going to short out on the chassis, and if you touch the fixture, which you really should have no reason to do, it's not going to kill you. So I've got the wires connected. If you had a ground wire coming out, you would use the third wire nut, or you would use the screw over here like I did, even though, again, I don't have a ground. So I've got power on here right now. I'm going to disconnect everything and put the bracket up. There's a lot of space in here to be able to put the wire nuts, so that shouldn't be a problem. And then you'll take the two screws and you'll screw them in. I hope that they are Phillips, like they said. Let me check. Yep, they are Phillips head screws. They're long. You should be able to screw them in without a problem, and then use the screwdriver afterwards. So I'll be back to show you the final job. There's always a problem, isn't there? And here is the problem. The problem is that when I mount this thing with the screw holes that are on here, the fixture is going to face this way in the room, and I need it to face this way. So I need to figure out a way to take these brackets and make them so that they are going this way and not this way. And it looks like the holes that they gave me in the bracket is not going to make that easy. So I'm going to have to use these holes here, these universal holes, instead of the screw holes that came with it. So I'm going to be tearing this whole thing down right now. I'm not thrilled about that, but that's something you really need to be aware of, is make sure that this bracket is positioned the right way, these flanges pointing down and facing in the direction that you're going to want your light fixture to be pointing in. Back to the beginning. You can see that I have remounted the bracket. Definitely a mistake that most of us amateurs would make, installing a lamp like this, not even considering that you can't spin the fixture housing to position the right way. So instead of using the screws over here, I just stayed in the same column and I used the openings over here. So it's a universal bracket. Make sure that this is lined up the way you want your lamp to be. And back to putting the tape on there and the wire nuts and the ground wire. Second time around, it went a lot faster because it was my second time around. Wires connected together, wire nut, tape. Put your ground wire on the screw, or connect the ground wire with the wire nut and the screw, and whatever comes out of there. You can see I pushed the extra wire up there instead of cutting it off. And now I'm going to take this bracket off. I'm going to screw the clamp, the outer housing, to these two flange pieces and test it out. You can see that I've got it mounted with the two screws now. Be careful when you are putting your wires in here and pushing this thing up that you don't crush the wires or the grounding strap when you are pushing this up against the ceiling and tightening it down. This thing is not light. It's not heavy, but it's not light. It's very difficult to hold this unit up with one hand and try to feed a screw into there and then turn it around and try to feed a screw into the other side. So that's the fixture that I just mounted. And now I'm going to power up the lights and see what happens. Circuit breaker's on, everything's powering up, computer and everything are going on. I'm going to flip the light switch. It's either going to blow up or it's going to work. What will it do? Wow, look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, look at this. You can hear it in the shock and the sound of my voice. I can't believe how bright this thing is and how beautiful it is. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed. So you can adjust these things. You can turn them up and down, sideways. You can see that I can turn this. I don't know if I can turn it all the way. I can turn it that way. Can I turn it this way? So this is absolutely incredible. This lamp that I purchased at Costco took me a while to install. This thing has so much light in it. I am shocked at, well, I think 160 is probably like 100 and some. This is incredible. What a great deal. I'm going to be posting this because I'm so happy. I bought 3 of these. I'm going to be installing all 3 of them. I might even buy 2 more. Great product. Very good product. One last thing I just wanted to show you. It's really hard to tell. It's hard to tell that this room is bright. It is LED lighting. It is not like, this is fluorescent lighting with weak bulbs, but that's kind of a yellowish light, and it does light up the room. It lights up the ceiling. But it's not the greatest. It's really not throwing a lot of light around. And then you can see that's a whitish. So LED lighting is totally different than incandescent, but I'm going to look this up again. The power on this is going to be so much lower. Let me give you some dimensions while I'm at it. From end to end, 100 centimeters, I don't know what that is in inches, 39.3 inches from end to end, and from the top of the ceiling down to the bottom of the light fixture, 7.4 inches, and the circular piece over here, 5 inches circular, 5 inches from end to end. So 39 inches. That's a little more than 3 feet. Let me see if I can find some included integrated 5-watt LEDs per lamp. 5-watt bulbs. Wow. Lifespan 25,000 hours. That's usually not accurate. Brightness 16,000 lumens. Energy used 27 watts. That's what I wanted to find out. 27 watts. This room, which used to have a 32-watt bulb and I can't remember what else was in here. I was using 32 watts of fluorescent. It was extremely dark. Now I'm using 27 watts, which is just going to drop my power usage down to next to nothing. So as far as lighting, extremely bright lights, very low wattage used, and this is definitely a product that you should buy.